Out the Box TV. Your man, Roger.
I feel like a thug, I'm not gonna lie. We music on music on music. I'm your boy DJ Primetime 256. Don't forget the 256. It's in my mixtape voice. Let's get it.
We talking about the rich culture of music in our very own backyard on this episode.
Right, right.
So, you know, we gotta
It's your boy. It's your boy.
Yeah.
It's for the streets. Out the Box TV. We here. One more time for Alabama. I'm working on my mic. It's the Music Hall of Fame. We got EQ last. Where we going?
We just making it happen. Sound studio. We digging into the culture and the history.
Okay.
So let's just make it happen right now. Listen. And I'll do episode of Out the Box TV.
Kinda. I'm still in everybody's drops, man. I feel like that, man. I'm a DJ. 256 to the world.
Starts right now.
Let go.
Did you miss me? It's your boy Roger. Thank you. Sounds so good, don't it, people? DJ Primetime 256. DJ Primetime 256. Let's get it. Let go.
Your man Roger, I'm here with John. How's it going?
Hey, I'm doing fine.
We're out here at the Alabama Music Hall of Fame, and we've been talking about like the rich history of just the state in general, the culture, the music culture, and the fact that I was born and raised here in Tuscumbia, Alabama, and this was always like a place that I would kind of pass by and not really take the moment to absorb what is really here. Can you tell me like what was the sole inspiration for the Alabama Music Hall of Fame?
So that is one of the most common questions we get, and you know, we get people from all over the world, and sometimes they come here and they're a little confused because to them it might feel like they're in the middle of nowhere, but here, and why it is here is because this area, the whole Shoals area, was the center of the whole music industry for the state, and that's particularly impressive because you would expect that to be somewhere like Birmingham or Montgomery or maybe Mobile or somewhere like that.
Right.
But it happened here through, you know, a variety of factors. You know, there was just a tremendous amount of local talent in terms of like the artists, the producers, the engineers, the whole teams that made it happen here just really had a knack for it. And, you know, that was able to catch the attention of everybody in this country and everybody internationally. And, you know, they were able to keep that momentum going for several decades. People still come here and record.
Right.
And so by the time this place was conceived of in the mid-'80s, you know, they were like, well, this is the ideal spot for it because Alabama music history, a large part of it, took place right here.
Right.
And what better place to have it here than, you know, right, we're about 5 or 10 miles away from all the studios in the area.
Right.
This is a small area.
Right.
So everything is just right here.
Everything is still here, and it's the movement from producers to songwriters to artists to people traveling to come in and be here and absorb the surroundings, the culture, and create these sounds. Like, I'm blown away by some of the names. I kind of probably heard of them growing up, but I mean, like, of course, Alabama.
Sure,
you had like the Percy Sledge, the Lionel Richie, and you know, Aretha came here and recorded and things of that nature. Now, I'm assuming because it's the Alabama Music Hall of Fame, everybody that's kind of inducted here has some tie or born, or how do you decide who your inductees are and how often do you induct people into the Hall of Fame?
Sure. So we do about 4 or 5 people every other year, and we're gearing up to have another one. Of course, you know, everything is a little more up in the air right now than it normally would be, but you know, our selection committee is already working on some folks. And people, typically, the process goes like we do our own research. We're very small staff, but we do our own research, and we also rely a great deal on the public to submit to us people that we're not able to find. Okay. I mean, it's just even with excellent Google skills like I've got, you just can't find everybody. You know, no matter how many Google alerts you set up. But you know, we have people engage with us, and we're very glad to be accessible to people. So the first step is kind of, you know, creating a file on them, and usually right off the bat they're considered an achiever. Okay. And that's just like a basic level of recognition. That means they're cut above the rest. They may have won some awards, they may not have. And then the step up from that is them actually getting a display space, which is usually just temporary. Okay. And then beyond that, the selection committee considers people out of that group who have had exhibits here and who are music achievers. And also, you know, they scout themselves, they do their own research in addition to that. But that process usually takes anywhere from 6 to 8 months. I've been here 5 years, and I've never seen it done faster than 6 months. Okay. Usually starts with about 20 people, and then it gets narrowed down to, like I said, about 4 or 5. So it's very competitive. People, I get probably a dozen inquiries every single week. Okay. People send them in or call me, and you know, it's very difficult to say no, because I feel like everybody should be in here. Right. But and you know, we try to get as many people as we can in here. But people really, you know, it matters to them to be in here. Right.
So. Okay. Now, the show sound is something I've heard a lot about, but you know, you think of Nashville in this country, but you will be shocked to know you have everybody from like Leonard Skinner to Nat King Cole to, you know, a variety of sounds. So you have the pop, you have even the jazz and the rhythm and blues and everything. Do you think there's a real definition to the show sound, or do you think the variety that jumps into it is what kind of makes it unique?
I think it's definitely the variety of it. Plus, you know, like, you know, you can read books. People are starting to write books on the area, which is really impressive. They have much more interesting things to say about it than I do, but it's definitely a combination of things. Like, you know, the people from around here, you know, you of course had different backgrounds, and anytime you put people together who've grown up with different music, you get some kind of like fusion genre. Right. And then additionally, geographically, you've got Nashville, like you said, and then Memphis. And not to brag, but you know, a lot of the Memphis folks came from here. Andy? Sam Phillips. You know, we have huge displays on them. But you know, some people have described the sound as kind of a combination between Nashville and Memphis, and then Detroit also, because so many of the people who ended up, you know, with Motown Records and the other labels up there were from Alabama. You know, who had to go up there in the '60s because, you know, they're pushed out and everything. But you know, this place has roots here and there in like places you wouldn't really expect. Right. So.
Okay. Now, a lot of people may be shocked to know that hip hop is kind of decent in this area too as well. Because, like I said, we got the whole jazz and blues thing that goes on. I know you guys recently curated the hip hop exhibit as well. How do you actually, because it's so much, it seems like it's so much, how do you even whittle that down to decide what exactly belongs in the Hall of Fame?
Right. Well, it's impossible. I'll tell you that. You know, there's so many things. As the curator, it's just such a challenge, because when this place opened up, it was full. Every display space was full. Right. And we've only had a few additional cases installed in display spaces. And you know, it takes a lot of thinking outside the box to create new space. And so inevitably, you have to take something out to put something new in. Gotcha. And you know, the process for creating an exhibit can take anywhere from 6 months to a year. I mean, I try to do it as fast as I can, and people, like, you know, my boss is like, why isn't this out? And then the people who are trying to get it in, why isn't this in? Right. You know, but it's a process. And as far as, like, you know, what can go in, like, you know, in my opinion, everybody should be able to come in here and see everybody who they think should be in here, except for maybe their cousin or somebody.
Right. Unless your cousin doing some work. You feel me?
Right. And like, to be honest, like, you know, sometimes that's not a written disqualifier or anything like that. But you know, I get people calling in. My great aunt, you know, she was a waitress and she's waited on Elvis one time, and I think she should be in here. Of course, that can't happen. But but you know, music has changed, and the composition of what is in here. You know, this opened up in 1990, and country music is not the majority appeal anymore.
Right.
Hip hop is the biggest genre today. It has the largest market share, so to speak. And so, you know, I'm very proud of the exhibit, but like it is such a small bit. And you know, part of being a curator is like I have really weird taste in music personally. And so you can't rely on your own decision making for things that you're not familiar with. And so we got a lot of help from artists in the Huntsville area specifically. We also reached out to Birmingham and Mobile and Montgomery, and we got input from them. You know, a lot of their stuff is in the showcase. And so, you know, it's always just a series of compromises, but you know, you've got to get everyone in there. And so I think we've got a good cross section, you know, specifically in the hip hop section or any other section of you know, whatever the exhibit is about. And I mean, you know, like I said, music is changing still. And it's always changing, and there's always stuff kind of on the table to add in next. You know, we're looking at, you know, like Marvin Warren. I don't know if he's in the frame, but Marvin Warren, you know, he's not like anybody else we've had in here. He's you know, living out in LA doing all these big movies. The display has like 100 or 200
I was checking
things
it out.
that he's done, you know, and it's crazy. And so, you know, you have unique people like that who don't really fit in with anything else, but they've got to be in here as well. So
okay, well, for my viewers, if they want to ever come by and check out the Alabama Hall of Fame, what's the best way they can do that?
Well, you know, you can visit our website to see if there's any special exhibits or temporary exhibits going on. You know, a way to address the space is to have an exhibit up for 3 months. So if there's something that you might be interested in, you might want to plan your visit to be here at that time. So you're always welcome to just give us a call. You can find the number on the website as well. You know, we're right here. We're like from Huntsville, we're like an hour away. From Memphis, we're like 2 hours away. So, you know.
No reason for you to not be here is what he's saying.
You have no excuse.
No excuse. Well, John, I appreciate your time. Thanks for speaking with us on the rich culture, the Southern heritage of music and all this stuff. I'm loving it. I've checked out a few of the exhibits, and I'm just like, whoa, I don't know why I've never been here, and I was raised here. This is crazy. But I'm going to check out some of this for sure. And we'll be back. So y'all keep it locked right here. It's Out the Box. Let's go. Out the Box TV, your man Roger. I'm sitting with one of the city's legends, Huntsville's legends, Mr. Cody G. And I say that because he's been in the game well over 20 years.
Yes, sir.
So he's very knowledgeable on not only the landscape, but just the world of music in general,
yes,
right?
Sir. Yes, sir.
So I'm not even going to run his resume down. I'm going to let him throw out a few of them stats for me.
Oh, man.
Try to make something out.
I'm just a taxpaying citizen from Huntsville, Alabama. No, I've been in the game for 20 years, Slow Motion Sounds, you know, 1999 to 2021.
Right.
Forbes, Spin, Source, SXL, 2K Sports, and Grand Theft Auto 5, and I'll stop there.
You just gonna stop there?
Yeah.
You can Google the rest. Right?
Real deal.
Okay, so first and foremost, I know that you were responsible in helping to curate one of the first hip hop exhibit at the Alabama.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What was your mission with that?
Oh, man. I just think, you know, well, the Alabama Music Hall of Fame says they represent every genre of music. So hip hop wasn't represented.
Okay.
So I wanted to make sure that they was telling the truth.
So you went and kicked the door in and said, listen.
It was sort of like that.
Sometimes it be that serious though.
Yeah, but no, it was a 4-year journey.
Okay.
Got a chance to really appreciate most of the shows. You know, my son from over there, so I had been over there, but to really dig deep into that music and shout out to Dick Cooper, man, Sandra over there. But anyway, it was a long process, but to get it in there and it's a permanent fixture within the hall.
Okay.
Nobody was inducted, just the exhibit itself was the, you know, the seed being planted for hip hop to be a part of that rich Alabama music culture.
I love that. Now, what I've been trying to show you guys for this episode is that Alabama is very rich
Woo.
in music.
Woo.
We've heard the blues.
Yes, sir.
We've heard the R&B and the
Yes, sir.
soul.
Yes, sir.
But a slept-on element is the hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's a lot of talent here in the city of Huntsville, but it's, for some reason, Huntsville don't elevate it.
I
Or
feel
they
like we
show
don't
love to it.
champion ourselves.
Okay.
I mean, you got people like Kevin Wooten, the Block Beaters. These guys have changed music behind the scenes.
Right.
You can go back to Spanky Alpha. You mentioned the blues, Father Blues from right down the road. W.C. Handy, who was a band director at Alabama A&M. I mean, go down to Birmingham. You know, Attitude wrote "Promiscuous Girl" for Nelly Furtado. He was a hip hop artist.
Right.
You know, you got Rick Rock out of Montgomery, who started Hyphy. You know, he moved out to the Bay, but he started Hyphy and produced for Tupac, Jay-Z across the board. So we've always been a part of the music industry.
Right.
I think you just hit the nail on the head. We don't champion it the way we should.
Yeah,
You know?
that's a sad thing. Now, I want to take it back since you mentioned your squad from back in the day.
Okay.
Now, we got to talk about this because I heard you mention this once before, and me and DJ Primetime have talked about this a lot too. But you guys were kind of like ahead of the game as far as being out on the net. I know the internet was still kind of born at that moment. Now everybody's on the internet. But it's like at one point in time, people was trying to come at you guys and trying to tag you on the internet.
Oh my God.
Right? And then you had to put them in the headline real quick.
Wow, you really, that's a great question, Roger. No, but we were, I think it was a timing thing.
Okay.
Cause we still was selling records out the trunk.
Okay.
We still was doing consignments at James Records and taping T&L Records, but I just think, you know, being the young millennials and older generation X's that we just found that space. And with my group G-Side, you know, Slow Motion Sound's greatest export, I believe, people used to dog them. Oh, they're just famous on the internet.
Right. And now y'all trying to catch up.
But now you can't move without the internet.
Right.
So I really believe it was you know, it was a gift and a curse.
Okay.
You know, I think those guys took a lot being at the forefront of the internet, you know what I'm saying, and being independent. But 20 years later, I think it all made sense.
Okay. And it's been like a real transition through the industry and labels in its own. Like coming up, well, when I was younger, the goal for artists was to get signed to a label. And now at this point in time, like you mentioned, because you can't move without the internet, anybody can go independent.
Correct.
Anybody can put their music out. What has been, do you feel, the greatest transition in the industry for people who are locked in on their talent but are just kind of slept on?
They don't know how to make no money. I mean, just being real, okay. You know, when Spotify and those platforms came about, it's great. You know, streaming is amazing, but to make that type of money that people was making back in the day, you know, you got to really get out here and touch people with a product.
Right.
So I think people are chasing, go listen to my stuff on all platforms, but at the end of the day, you're only getting 0.039 of a penny per stream. So for 1 million views, a million streams, you're getting like $4,000. And you got to break that down in between whoever wrote on the record. So, and that's a one-time payment. Okay. So I think that's the biggest thing that, I'm seeing right now is that transition. There's no real, business to consumer way, that you had about 15 years ago.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's definitely been a journey and a movement, and I know you are tapped in for real, even though, you might not champion yourself enough. While you sit here talking about the city of Huntsville or the state of Alabama, you might not champion yourself enough for what you've been able to do. And behind the scenes, some people like to lay low, so I understand that and everything. But I do want to let you know that we see you, bro.
Hey, look here. I only came to this interview because it was you. Anybody else, we would have had to do a Zoom joint. You know what I mean?
Well, I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right, we're going to touch back here in just a bit. We're not done exploring the culture of the music scene in the state of Alabama in our own backyard. My man, Cody G, I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir. And we'll be back right here, Out the Box TV.
Huntsville is a music destination. Peace.
Your man, Roger, Out the Box TV, out with my man, Chase Brandon, Sound Studios, Sheffield, Alabama. And this is one of the most legendary spots in, I want to say the world. He's going to let me know if I'm wrong or not.
No, I would agree.
Okay. Now, seeing that this spot was erected in the late 60s, and here we are, 2021 going into 2022, it's still a major figure in the shows. So what do you feel makes this place so special?
Well, in my opinion, what makes the place so special is the 4 young guys that opened here in '69 were some of the best studio musicians in the world. And they happen to be local guys.
Okay.
And so we know them as the Swampers. And they started at Fame, but in 1969, they left that studio and they founded our studio. So, in my opinion, I don't know that it was the room or the building as much as the local musicians and songwriters that occupied the space here.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of what I feel.
Okay.
But now the room is a legendary space. Now it is a historic place where we do tours and record today. But, you know, I feel the mark that they left behind.
That's awesome.
And I think it was more about the people and the musicians that occupied the space, maybe more so than the building at that time.
Gotcha.
And now it's historic because of that.
Gotcha. Now, of course, a wide range of sounds have come from sound studios per se. So if I get any name wrong, you feel free to correct me. All right.
Okay.
So Elton John, did he recorded here?
Elton John, I don't know that he ever recorded in Muscle Shoals. The connection with Elton John, I know that our horn section,
Okay.
the Swampers were the rhythm section here.
Okay.
But they had local friends, local guys, and they were 4 or 5 guys, and they were the Muscle Shoals horns. And this is pretty cool. Their album is right here.
Okay.
They did their own record here, I want to say 77. Born to Get Down, the Muscle Shoals horns.
Okay.
They went on tour with Elton John.
Got you. Okay.
That's kind of the connection.
Got the
that
connection
I know
there.
with Elton.
Aretha Franklin.
Aretha Franklin.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Staple Singers, if I'm not
The
mistaken?
Staple Singers.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, right here, these 2 legendary records here on the Staple Singers. This is my favorite. Yeah, Respect Yourself.
Okay.
Heavy Makes You Happy.
Okay.
I'll Take You There.
Okay,
You know?
see, that's
One of the
yeah, I
best
know that
songs of all
classic right there. Leonard Skinner.
Leonard Skinner.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like it's genres and it's movements, all of that have kind of birthed from here. And I know this was a big contribution to the show sound, as they call it.
Yeah.
How do you feel that the instrumentation, how instrumental the guys were, the horn section and groups that you say, how instrumental they were with certain records, kind of created the sound for those records and those artists.
Kind of, they defined their own sound.
Right.
They sort of, yeah. I mean, I think the Muscle Shoals sound was a lot of local musicians that grew up here, and they might have been in church, and they really loved rhythm and blues music and rock and roll.
Right.
I know for a small community, there seemed to be a number of rock and roll bands here in the 50s.
Okay.
Before this really became a music capital.
Right.
I think they had developed their own unique sound, style, and approach to record making that was different than other music capitals, such as Motown or Los Angeles, New York. They had such a defined sound here. And it translated in all these records. But what's impressive about these records is you see the diversity of these records that they did. And, they were so accommodating of all their artists and bands that recorded here. So they would sort of give them their Muscle Shoals sound, but they were happy to receive feedback of what that particular artist or producer wanted. Nobody was better than them in terms of playing any style of music and whatnot. Their first love was rhythm and blues. And so the Muscle Shoals sound was born out of rhythm and blues. And it was I think it was a southern and a more gritty approach to rhythm and blues than maybe you heard in Detroit or New York or LA or somewhere like that. So they had sort of I don't want to say country, but a southern approach to rhythm and blues. And that's how it started. But then we see that everybody wants a piece of that. Everybody wants to come here and work with them.
Okay, gotta love that. So now
that's a long answer.
The long answer to it.
That's
but
a really long answer.
Very informative answer to it. Now I do know that there was a point where you guys moved from this location to another location in the city to record, then came back. You wanted to make this like not only a historic landmark, but like a museum or whatnot, like that. And fun fact, and again, if I'm wrong, he will correct me. The Beats, they gave a lot of like a huge donation to establish this as a landmark before they even got. Before it even got situated, I guess, in a sense like that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I know that long before I was around, okay, I started in 2017, early 2017. In 2013, the documentary Muscle Shoals had come out. Okay. And I think what a lot of our visitors today don't realize is that the Swampers, those guys were making hits here for 9 years in the 70s. Right. And in 78, this building, if you could see this building, it became a little too small for their operation. And so in 78, they moved to a way bigger building. Okay. And they continued to have a great career, and they played on hits, but they were at another location. So this place became, I don't want to say forgotten, but this place fell into disrepair. Okay. It was different businesses. Okay. Which is surprising to a lot of people. Okay. I think for years people drive by this place and they peek in the window, and it wasn't the studio that the Stones recorded at in '69, although it was the same building. Right. You know, so they were at another location, and then the documentary comes out, the Muscle Shoals documentary, and that was huge. Right. And that's when our foundation got the building, and I think the goal was to ultimately do what we're doing today, but it should have taken a lot longer. So we appreciate Dr. Dre and Jimmy Iovine, who are the founders of Beats headphones. Right. They saw this incredible documentary about Muscle Shoals that shocked so many people, and I know that in some way it touched them, and they felt the story of the Swampers. Right. I think they loved what they saw in the documentary. And so, yeah, Dr. Dre and his company, Beats Headphones, Jimmy Iovine, they gave our foundation a grant of about $1 million, close to $1 million. I don't know the exact amount, but wow, that went a long way in terms of us being able to, I don't want to say recreate, but in terms of us being able to renovate this historic place like it was in the 70s. Right. And so now you walk in here, and you walk in and you know that, oh, okay, now it looks as though they never really left the place. Gotcha. It didn't look like that for a long time.
I can imagine. I was telling him this off camera, the fact that I literally grew up minutes from here. Okay. And I would always pass the building, not realizing what history was in the building. You know what I'm saying?
That's incredible.
So that's now looking at it through adult eyes is crazy. And before we find out how you guys can come and get tours and all this stuff, I have to bring this up because I really didn't realize the infamous Cher album cover. Yeah. And the 3614 Jackson Highway album cover by Cher. You guys can Google it. We'll probably put it up for you so you can see it right now. She actually took the picture outside the studio. And Cher. Y'all know how big Cher is. So it's like literally these names, the Percy Sledges, I can go on and on. It's just amazing to me to even think about it. But like just
me too.
You know, but like then you like Cher, who's in another realm, and the fact that she almost brought a lot of light to the building itself just by putting it on the album cover is crazy.
Incredible. I mean, she sure did. You know, it's a huge part of our history here. Right. Cher was the first to ever record here, like in a commercial sense, and wow, what a first client to have. Right. You know, the Swampers had left Fame, and they opened the studio here in, I want to say, April of '69, and Jerry Wexler of Atlantic Records, he brings Cher, and that's their first client here. You know, not necessarily Sonny and Cher, but Cher. Right. And she did her first album here in '69. And yeah, her and Sonny are in the photo, and the Swampers and Jerry Wexler and all these producers, and they took the photo right in front of the building. Crazy. In '69, and there was not even a logo. There was nothing on the front of the building. Right. It didn't say Muscle Shoals Sound, nothing. You know, it was just that little brick building. And that was the first record ever done here.
That's awesome. So for anybody who wants more information about sound studios, if they want to come do a tour, if they just want to, you know, just get some information about the studio, read up on the history or whatever, what's the best way to do that?
Well, we're on social media and all that stuff, so we have a nice website. You know, it's got our online store in there, merchandise. It's got we got recording inquiries on there, and got a nice website. And then we're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. It's just Muscle Shoals Sound Studio. That might be a good way to find out about what we're doing and our posts and a way to keep up with us. Or, of course, watch the documentary.
Right.
You know, from 2013, and you can learn a little bit maybe before you come down here.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, I appreciate your time, Chase.
Yeah, Chase.
You know, listen, I love the fact that I get to dive into not only the state love and state history, but like just my hometown too. So this is awesome. So I appreciate you for taking the time to holler at us.
Pleasure.
We
man.
will be
Thank you.
back. You guys keep it locked right here. It's Out the Box. Let's go.
It's your boy PT, and Out the Box. RJ steady rolling, about the hot box. About the hot box, you know what I'm saying? Hot box
Right,
car,
I got
about
you.
the week. Hot. My CBD.
Yeah. Okay.
This is the most green RJ's ever had. That's what we did in front of the green sign. This RJ's. He said, "Can I get high, high, high every day?" In the wine, in the shells. Can he get?
I'm not doing this with you.
Welcome to another episode of Out the Box TV. This is RJ High.
Y'all gonna have 2 episodes of me high.
I told you this nigga keep choking me. I'm at the body slam RJ on camera. He keep choking me. He keep grabbing from the neck. I don't know.
Oh, sorry. It's like my go-to.
I'm at the shoot RJ.
All right, we're ready. We're ready. Okay.
I'm gonna shoot RJ
Don't do it. Shit.
in the kneecap. Next time RJ goes
Okay,
back
I
through.
know not to hear him anymore.
Don't!